Now is the perfect time to inspect the branch structure of your red-twig dogwood. Proper pruning will ensure an attractive landscape feature. To highlight the technique is Brian Maurer, Vice President of Operations for Brian Kyle's Landscapes of Distinction.
You know, there's two types of pruning that I would suggest or recommend for a red-twig dogwood. The first one is what we refer to as corrective pruning, and the second one would be more of a cosmetic prune. The corrective pruning, when I first look at a plant, I look down in and I look for, with the dogwood or red twig in particular, it gets its name from its red twigs. So you're looking at the younger growth, which is all red twig. As the plant matures and gets older, it becomes kind of unsightly and turns brown. This stuff in particular happens to be dead wood, but over time, if I were to have left those branches, they would continue to grow up and become not as attractive as the redwood. So what we do is we take it back all the way down to the ground, or in this case there is extra growth down in here, and I would carefully eliminate it as close to the ground as possible so that throughout the course of this year we don't have to look at all the unsightly old and dead wood in this plant. So I very carefully go down all the way down to the crown if possible and get rid of all of that unsightly old wood in this plant. At the same time, there is also some branching that has not made it through the winter, and you can see that it has a different color or brown to it. I would go through here and I would eliminate that as well, tracing it back down to its main branch. And this would all be what we refer to as corrective pruning. We're looking for branching that is crisscrossing. We're looking for dead, older branching. We're trying to rejuvenate the plant and keep it looking fresh. As I mentioned earlier in our hydrangea how-to series, and how to keep a plant fresh and looking young. The second type of pruning might be more so for the summer, but it is what we refer to as cosmetic pruning. And over time, when we thin plants out in this nature, they can kind of get spindly. So what we suggest doing is taking them from the top, and not with head shears and giving it a shape, but just going through. If I cut this one, I would cut this one about 4 to 6 inches lower and stagger my heights. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to help the plant out, and over time this will become a little more denser. I don't want to always do this, but we suggest just doing it in the middle of summer just to kind of shape a plant and keep it looking fresh, whereas the thinning out would be something we do more in late fall, early spring.
This has been part of the Brian Kyle's Landscapes of Distinction how-to series. To learn more, be sure to visit www.briankyles.com, where you'll have access to myriad resources, as well as our YouTube page, which houses this series.